What's up, guys? Welcome back. It has been a minute. If this is the first video that you've ever seen of mine, welcome. This is the best video to show up on your For You page or whatever you want to call it, or for you to be clicking on. And if you're one of my OG long-term subscribers, welcome back. Thank you for staying in tune with my journey. Things are looking different, right? I'm no longer in college, no longer in California. I'm now in Austin, Texas, and living the dream, right? Doing what I love. But without further ado, I want to explain the purpose of this video. This video is and will be the most important video that I make. If you're new to me, new to this video, and just randomly clicked on it, I can imagine you probably clicked on it because you're in a spot where you've been trying to get in shape, whether that is losing body fat or gaining muscle or both. And have been trying to do that for months, maybe years at this point, and have just found yourself in a constant cycle and state of not being where you want to be. And you've finally reached the point where you've decided it's time to take action and to make a real change in your life, and you finally want to build a body and a mindset that you're proud of without having to sacrifice all the different aspects of your life, whether that's your social life or your dating life or your work life, whatever that may be. And the truth is, most people, I would say 90% of people, fail with their fitness, not because they're not working hard, not because they're not putting effort in with the gym or with their cardio sessions or with nutrition, but it's because they've never had the right structure or guidance, accountability, or system in place that they've needed, that fits their unique life and takes them to exactly where they want to go in their unique goal, their dream outcome. You're probably either currently stuck in or have been stuck in one of these common traps that, again, like I said, are very common amongst pretty much 90% of people in today's society, right? You might have been or currently be following cookie cutter programs that just simply don't fit your life, that have never proven to work. You might be listening to random coaches or influencers that don't understand your schedule and just give you, bland advice. You might have tried very restrictive diets or, fad diets in the past that you're just not able to stick to long term, or you just simply feel like shit. You might have fallen into the stage of, restricting a ton and then binging and then restricting again and then just constantly being in that guilt cycle with food. And you also might just be in a place where you've seen, maybe decent results with your fitness, maybe even with your mindset as well, but you've just never been able to develop real sustainable habits that allow you to lock in results for life. And if any of those stages or traps or whatever you want to call them sound familiar, you're going to want to watch the rest of this video, because I'm going to break down exactly how to get out of those common traps that so many people find themselves in, and how to achieve your dream outcome, your specific goal with your specific life, right? Because at the end of the day, the reason why it's so overwhelming with all this information, and the reason why so many people aren't able to see results that they want from, just programs online and all the nutrition information and whatever, is because everyone is different, right? At the end of the day, everyone has different goals, different genetics, different lifestyle habits, different careers. So fitness is really not one size fits all, and anyone who tries to tell you that is just simply completely false. And the exact system and framework that I'm about to break down for you is the exact structure or system that I use personally, and I've also taken all of my clients through, that have helped them not only make an incredible transformation, but also sustain those habits and those results in that transformation and build on top of that for the rest of their life. So very quickly, either if you're new here or if you've been watching me for years, I'm just gonna kind of fill you in on my story and also where I'm at right now. So essentially, I started training obviously when I was in high school back in like 2015, 2016, football, basketball, all the sports, but I was always very frail, skinny, small growing up. Lacked a lot of confidence and just honestly hated the way I looked, had a lot of self-esteem issues. I started training for sports. I put on a little bit of newbie gains, maybe senior year of high school, but it wasn't until freshman year of college, which is when COVID hit, that's right when COVID hit, that I really decided to go all in my fitness journey, right? I had reached a breaking point where I think at that point I was 5'11", which is how tall I am now, and I was still like 135 or maybe pushing 140 pounds, right? Which is very skinny, very frail. And I just felt weak. I didn't feel like a man, I didn't feel confident. And at that point, right, I was 18, maybe 19 years old at this point, and I was just done. I was sick and tired of it. So I decided to finally take it serious, right? I got a mentor, or a guy from my university that started coaching me. We started going to the gym together. He started to kind of show me the ropes in terms of what to eat, and I started bulking. And not only did I take it too far, but I took it to the extreme. I was so sick of being small, so sick of being skinny, that I went from, let's just say, around 140-ish, maybe even a little bit less, like 135, all the way up to 210 within, I believe it was like an 8 or 10 month time frame. So that is, around 70 to almost 80 pounds of weight added in quite a little amount of time. So obviously I gained quite a bit of extra body fat, probably sitting at anywhere from like 20 to 23% body fat, which is much fatter than I'd ever been in my entire life, right? Obviously wasn't obese by any means, but had a lot of extra body fat, and again, it started affecting my self-confidence. Even though I had gotten strong and had developed a very, big physique, you couldn't really see my muscles, right? Because I was carrying a lot of excess body fat. So I had love handles, I couldn't see my abs, because even when I was skinny, you could see my abs. So anyway, I decided when I got to 210, okay, I'm strong, I'm bigger, but now let's cut. So what I did is I started cutting out foods, right? I started getting in a calorie deficit, and that lasted about 2 months, and I think I lost around 20 pounds. Started getting leaner, but at that point I was so used to eating so much food that honestly my appetite was just screwed up. Growing up, my appetite was always very little. I never was that hungry. That's why I stayed so skinny and small. But after bulking for an extended amount of time, my appetite had grown, right? I had more ghrelin receptors. So I ended up really struggling with the cut and losing that body fat. And I kind of fell into this constant cycle of sitting in between, I would say 14 to like 18% body fat, right? Like almost visible abs, but not really. Still struggled in terms of, literally putting the fork down and getting rid of that excess body fat and getting to a leaner physique, while also maintaining all the muscle that I had built in that time frame when I was bulking. So what I did was I developed a structure and a routine to essentially eat the foods that I enjoyed eating, to work out 5 to 6 days a week, kind of depending on my school schedule, my work schedule at that point, and find a way I could balance, being in a calorie deficit, training enough times per week, and adding in some zone 2 incline treadmill cardio, where it wasn't taking over my life. And I ended up finding enjoyment through that process, and that's kind of when I really fell in love with not only lifting and training, but just nutrition, all the ins and outs of just fitness and everything, essentially. At that point, I started working as a personal trainer at our campus gym, and it was great. I liked working in person with people because I'm a very social person. I like building connections with people. That's why to this day I enjoy coaching. But to be honest, it was very hard for me to help people see progress. They would come to the gym, we would get really good workouts in. However, the diet, nutrition, I could give them tips, but it was up to them, right? They were at home kind of doing whatever. The other workouts that they weren't hitting with me, they were kind of doing whatever or even skipping them. And it was just a lot harder to see progress because there wasn't really accountability. It was just me kind of giving them tips during our workouts and taking them through the workouts when we were together. So that's when I ended up stopped doing the in-person coaching and pivoted to creating kind of an online presence and just focusing on growing my social media and working on myself, finishing out school. After that, I ended up graduating from college and moving to Austin around 2 years ago. And at that point, picked up one-on-one coaching again, but this time doing it online instead. At that point, I was also working remotely in a sales job as well, and then doing coaching on top of that. And the rest is kind of history. And like I said, the main issue, the main problem, most likely why you haven't been able to build a routine that works for you with your unique lifestyle that is going to take you to your goal, is not because you haven't been working hard, right? It's not because you haven't been putting the effort in. It's because you just lack the right system, the right structure, and the right framework and guidance to basically create something that fits your unique lifestyle and takes you to exactly where you want to go, your dream outcome, your specific goal. So again, it's not your fault at all. You just haven't had the right system, and that's exactly what I'm about to break down for you. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so like I said, I'm going to break down the exact system that I used and that I've helped my clients go through to achieve their dream outcome, their dream body, and actually sustain and maintain the results and the transformation that we've been able to accomplish, right? It's quite a simple process, and I'm going to lay it out for you, but it's important to kind of understand the why and the reason behind where you're currently at and the cycles or just cycle that you've been stuck in, right? And to get that big picture understanding of what's been going on so that we can go ahead and take action to change it. So what most people are doing, right? You want to get in shape, whether you want to lose fat, gain muscle, both, whatever that may be. You're trying to get in shape. You're taking the right actions. That's where most people end up, right? But you have that short-term mindset that need it now, whether you saw someone running on the street with a good body, or you saw some motivation on Instagram, whatever that was, you have that need it now mindset and wanting to make progress as quick as possible. And like I said earlier in this video, that's completely normal. Most people go through that. Of course, you want to achieve your dream body right away, but in reality, we all know this, that just is not possible. That doesn't happen. So you want to get in shape. You have that short-term need it now mindset, which leads to you following extreme restrictive diets or trying to adhere to intense workout routines, working out 6-7 days a week for 2 hours, or following cookie cutter programs. And not only is that not enjoyable whatsoever, I mean, let's just be honest, that's not fun, but it leads to temporary success or no success, right? But even if you start to lose some weight or gain some muscle or maybe feel a little bit better, right? That's awesome, but you can't sustain that because what happens? Life gets in the way. Life happens, whether you have a busy work week or you have a vacation plan that comes up or whatever happens, life just gets in the way. That is inevitable. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter what you do for work, doesn't matter. Life happens, it gets in the way. So then you struggle with discipline and consistency. You end up in the same spot as before, right? You either stop seeing results, you feel like you failed, you fall off the wagon, you miss a few days in the gym, you cheat a few times in your diet, and either you accept failure and you say, okay, maybe this whole fitness thing, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm just never going to look a certain way or achieve my dream body. Or you restart the cycle with another quick fix, right? Because you still have that short-term need it now mindset. You still want to make progress as quick as possible. You're still motivated enough to try something different, whether that's a different type of diet or a different workout program or, a different fad, whatever that may be. You're still motivated enough to give it another go, but then you just get back into this same cycle. Today, that is not going to happen to you though, right? Because you are making the conscious decision to change that, to find a routine, to find structure, to find a system that works for you with your specific life, right? Because like I said, everyone is different, and your specific goal. Because fitness, not one size fits all. I'm going to repeat that over and over again. So this is where I'm going to break down my 80-20 fit formula. So this is kind of what it looks like as a whole, but I'm going to break it down a little bit more at a granular level. So you're still at the same spot, right? Today, watching this video, you want to get in shape, but we're going to do things a little bit differently, right? With the 80-20 formula, like I talked about, that I utilize, that I take all my clients through, and you're still at the same spot though, wanting to get in shape, you're trying to get in shape, but we have a new mindset now. We have a long-term sustainable mindset, right? Because we're going to find something that we enjoy doing. We're going to work in our favorite foods and continue eating the things that we enjoy eating, as well as add in tasty, low-calorie versions of foods. And then we're also going to find a workout program that works for us, that works for our schedule and our specific goal. And that doesn't have to be spending 2 hours in the gym every single day, 6-7 days a week, right? It could be anywhere from like 2 to 5 hours only per week of some sort of resistance training, some form of cardio that you can be adhering to. And then seamlessly integrating the different aspects of your fitness protocols into your lifestyle with some added structure and consistency. So then you do not feel the need to cheat on your diet, or you don't feel demotivated to go to the gym early in the morning, because you are in a better position, right? You have that long-term sustainable mindset, and you are still eating the foods that you like, aren't spending way too many hours in the gym, and it is just fitting into your lifestyle, right? Seamlessly. And now you're able to see long-term results, and you have a new mindset as well. And that leads to a whole bunch of great outcomes. So your motivation is going to be increased, right? With the sustainable system, you're going to be more motivated to go to the gym, more motivated to, be conscientious of what you're eating, making sure that you're hitting your protein goals, etc., because you're starting to see progress, right? You're starting to see changes in the mirror. You're starting to get compliments. People are starting to notice. You start to see the scale either go down or up based on your goals. Fit clothes better. Essentially, that's really where motivation kicks in at full force and really takes over. It becomes easy and enjoyable because the habits that you have been working towards and working on have been ingrained into your lifestyle naturally, right? And at that point, you've built an impressive body, you have more energy, more confidence, and just a complete overall mindset shift. And therefore, you're able to actually keep the transformation long term, right? And I think that's where a lot of people and coaches and just in general, people fail, because they can see a great transformation. A coach can get their client a great transformation within 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. But are they going to be able to keep it? Probably not, because the person or the client is just going to go back to their old ways, their old habits, because they haven't ingrained the new habits and the new mindsets into their lifestyle, or they took a time of their lives and really just locked in fully on their fitness, and all the other aspects of their life kind of they press pause on or they put on hold. But at the end of the day, you just can't do that, right? You have to be able to seamlessly integrate fitness into your life. It can't be, you can't be sacrificing anything, at least in the long term. And this structure builds discipline, it sets up a routine, and honestly, having that discipline and having that routine set in place in your life leads to so much positive momentum that honestly carries into all other areas of your life, right? Whether that's more confidence in your social life or in your dating life, or, being more a leader in your workplace, whatever that may be. There are so many positive outcomes that come from not only achieving your dream body, feeling more confident, but also just having that routine and structure set into place in one area, one aspect of your life. And to kind of put some proof in the pudding here, obviously I did this, but here are some of the awesome clients that I have worked with. Here's Anthony. He has a high-performing corporate job. There are 100 days between these two pictures. Here, I believe he was around 215, and here he is right around 200 pounds. So just 15 pounds, nothing too crazy lost in 100 days, but he's added some muscle as well and gotten leaner, right? And he's been able to do this consistently without it taking over his life, right? So he has gone on business trips to Europe during this time. He's had casual drinks pretty much every weekend for his work. He's gone to social events with his girlfriend, gone on dates, etc. And he's been able to maintain that sense of balance with the 80-20 fit formula, and not only achieve an incredible transformation in just 100 days, but been able to do that in a very enjoyable manner. And now he is wanting to get even leaner, build more muscle, and knows he can do that because he has ingrained this new mindset and these new habits into his life seamlessly, and fitness just doesn't seem hard like it did before, right? Because before he came to me, he had graduated college recently, right? So he had been drinking a lot, and he was working a ton now in his new corporate job, being a high performer, and just didn't really feel like he had time for fitness, didn't feel like he had time to go to the gym, didn't think he had time to meal prep or make chicken, rice, and broccoli 7 times a week. But then, utilizing my 80-20 fit formula and having me kind of guide him through that allowed him to kind of realize that, okay, I can still eat a lot of the same foods that I actually already enjoy eating, maybe just at different amounts, trying out the low calorie versions. I can, still go to, the gym a couple times a week, but it doesn't have to be for hours on end. I can do types of cardio that I actually enjoy, that are going to actually help me burn fat, and at the same time, do all the things I'm currently already doing in my life, right, that I mentioned. Here's another example. One of my clients, Nadi, this is just a text she sent me a couple days ago, right? Just 3 days after joining the program, she is already loving having that structure and routine in her life, right? So she's already loving the new lifestyle just after 3 days because she's eating the foods that she enjoys. She is doing workouts that she actually likes, doing forms of cardio that she likes, and it's not taking away from her work. It's not taking away from her social life, her dating life, and it just feels normal. It's seamlessly integrated into just her day-to-day. So essentially, right, she's not craving carbs the way she did, and she's still able to eat them too. Another example here, my guy Sean, obviously insane physique. He looks great. He came to me after a couple of years of training consistently and just felt like he had hit some plateaus. He wasn't making the progress he wanted to see. And just after 6 weeks of utilizing the 80-20 fit formula, right, having some structure and having the proper routine, kind of knowing what to do and how to break those long-term plateaus, he's been able to, increase his strength on all his lifts, add a bunch of muscle, and stay at relatively the same amount of leanness, and really just improve his physique, overall confidence. And I think the biggest thing with Sean is his mindset has really improved. He feels a lot more confident in all these areas of his life that I have talked about. He's absolutely killing it. So at this point, you might be asking yourself, okay, how do I implement this into your own life? I'm not just going to tell you a bunch of things, but I'm actually going to show you how to go about it, show you how to do it, right? So how to start, essentially. Most people, they're able to figure out their goal, right? Whether they want to lose 30 pounds or get lean for the summer or put on some muscle, get bigger, right? They know what their goal is. Most people get that far, and that's great. That's honestly better than most of the population who don't even think about that stuff, right? They're just content and happy in their own constant unhealthy cycles, whatever that may be. So that's the first step, and probably if you're watching this video, you've already gotten to that point of figuring out your goal. And then after figuring out your goal, you have to understand the why behind that goal or behind why you want to make the change. I think there's a lot of importance placed in understanding where that goal comes from, because not only does that motivate you throughout the entire journey, but understanding why you want to make the change really helps you focus in and unlock this new version of you, this new mindset, and develop that discipline, especially early on. So after that, it's really just understanding what's in your way. And most of the time, like I said, it's just not having the right program or the right structure. You're sick and tired of trying all these things out and for it not working, right? So figuring out what's in your way, what hasn't worked in the past, or what has just simply been unsustainable, whether that's cookie cutter programs or coaches that don't understand your life and your specific goal, don't give you the time of day, and, realize why did those things not work? Why was it so miserable to, go to the gym this much and to do this much cardio and to eat these things? Like, why was that not sustainable for me and my lifestyle? So coming to that realization and then getting clear on what not to do and why, right? Getting clear on what actually works for you and the system that you need to implement, which we were talking about. So that includes eating the same things that you already enjoy eating, right? Obviously in moderation, understanding portion sizes, adding in some lower calorie swaps. There's so many great options out there, on the internet and just at the grocery store when you look around that are, low sugar, low calorie, make things a lot easier. Doing so is going to help you not cheat on your diet. It's going to, help you avoid being in that constant binge cycle and just make the whole nutrition process a lot easier for you. We're adding in 10-minute morning or evening or post-meal walks, right? It feels like nothing. You can answer emails, listen to music, listen to nature, call your grandma, whatever. It doesn't even feel like you're doing anything strenuous at all. It's enjoyable, but you are actively burning fat. You're helping your metabolism, etc. Or do very easy, enjoyable fat burning zone 2 cardio, right? Instead of doing the demanding cardio routines, whatever that was, whether it was running or crazy jump roping, rowing, whatever that was in the past that you were trying to do and just hated or couldn't stick to, switching things up to find something that actually works, it's going to get you results. And then also having that long-term mindset, that mindset shift from thinking short-term fix to long-term results. Having that long-term mindset instead of the stick with it for X amount of time, whatever that may be. If you're able to do those things, you're able to seamlessly gain control of your body, of your mind, and develop confidence. And through that, actually to reach your full potential. And you're able to reach your full potential working less hard than you actually thought you had to, right? Because I'm sure you got into the boat where you had tried a whole bunch of different crazy workouts, different cardio routines, crazy restrictive diets, and you thought, okay, I just don't have the capabilities or the mental fortitude or whatever to become fit to achieve the body that I want. But actually, as I kind of just laid out for you, as you see, it's a lot easier than you think to achieve your dream outcome, to get your dream physique. It's just having the right structure, system, and kind of proven schedule in place that works for you and your life. Like I kind of talked about in the beginning of this video, I had already been lifting for a couple of years at this point, had seen some gains, right? At this point, I was very skinny. And then this is probably, I think, 2 years after lifting, at the beginning of college or midway through college, I guess. And I had put on some decent size, but it really just, it was probably just newbie gains, to be honest. And this is right before my bulk. I was trying to figure out ways to get bigger, gain muscle, and then I ended up bulking, gaining all that fat like I talked about. Ended up not really taking any pictures because I was so ashamed of the way I looked and just kind of hated being in that process and being stuck in that cycle. But after, figuring out and kind of systematically testing out the 80-20 formula, right, I was able to achieve my current physique of, being very lean, very muscular, and feeling great every single day, being very confident in my day-to-day, and be able to maintain and sustain that with a lot of relative ease, actually. My life is actually pretty easy in terms of, sticking to my nutrition and my workout schedule. Super easy to maintain. I work a lot. I value my social life, my relationships. So, fitness is not always at the top of my priority, even though you may think it is. And, this is an achievable look and an achievable lifestyle for you, even if you haven't thought that in the past. So, and it's a lot easier than it seems. And again, not just me. After a couple months of trying to gain muscle, my client Thomas is absolutely smashing it. He's falling in love with the gym. He's hitting a ton of weight PRs, and he's finally learned flexible dieting. Like he said, literally loved every meal I had today, just ate what I wanted, built it around my macros, right? He's understanding that he can still eat the things he wants, doesn't have to have restrictive diets, but gain muscle and stay at the same body fat percentage, which is incredible. Another client, I finally started getting leaner. I started seeing his jawline come out. I mean, look at that jawline, it's insane. And then really seeing just overall more veins, more muscle definition. And he told me he gained a lot of confidence too, right? Just overall, he's in the sales business, helped him a lot with his overall just mindset and just being confident overall. And then lastly, here we have just another example. My client, Jerio, he used to absolutely hate cardio. He thought he had to run every single day and didn't have a gym membership. And in the last 3 months, we were able to lose close to 25 pounds and put on some muscle. Not only that, he's also fallen in love with working out. He's still working out at home, but he's gotten some more equipment. He's loving that process. He's going on a lot of daily walks, which he now enjoys, and he loves doing these cardio sessions because they're very easy. He gets to watch his favorite shows. I posted a story the other day talking about me loving cardio, and he said, now I do too. Are you a sorcerer or something? So as you see, he's loving the process and making absolutely incredible results, right? He went from 270, feeling very sluggish, eating very poor foods, to still eating a lot of the same foods that he likes, but just making some slight shifts and adjustments, lower calorie options, and just portion sizes, and losing almost 25 pounds in just a couple months here. Feeling completely different, feeling very confident, and just overall loving his new lifestyle with a completely new mindset. Alright, so as I said at the beginning of this video, you've already done the hardest part, right? You've made that actionable decision. You've taken that first step into a new life, into a new identity, a new body, new mindset. That is the hardest part, is making that decision and falling out of your old ways and deciding to hop into a new you, right? Now it's time for the second hardest part, which is essentially implementing the strategies that I taught you today. Working on your discipline and seamlessly integrating it into your life. Obviously, I've made it as easy as possible to make the process enjoyable and seamlessly fit into your life. So essentially, I went through exactly how my fit formula, my 80-20 fit formula system has gotten results for me and all the clients that I've worked with. And from here, essentially, you have two options, right? The first option is you try to utilize the 80-20 fit formula, everything that I've taught you, and implement that into your own life. And I sincerely hope that you get the results that you're looking for. If you stick to the plan, you will. Or option two, you can essentially guarantee results for yourself. Book a free consultation with me down below, and we can chat about how we can implement this into your life and essentially utilize the 80-20 fit formula to create your whole new identity in just a couple of months here. Essentially, the structure and the system that we build out together, my 80-20 fit formula, and that one-on-one accountability and support from me essentially allows me to guarantee results for my clients, right? As long as you put the work in. Obviously, I can't put the fork down for you, eat the food for you, and lift the weights for you, but that again will be possible because we are creating a system where you're able to reach your goal without fitness taking over your life, right? To be honest, you'll find that it will only enhance your life and make it better with a better routine, more energy, more confidence, etc. So again, spots are limited because this is truly a hands-on experience, right? It's not just another coaching program. It's not cookie cutter plans or protocols. This is one-on-one coaching. So obviously, I have a limited amount of spots. I do take on 3 to 5 new clients each month. So if you are ready to take that first step towards the new you, which again, like I said, is the hardest part, and you've already made that decision by watching this video, book a call with me down below, and I'm really excited to chat with you soon.